Welcome, global entrepreneurs. There are 400 million of us. SYREETA McDaniel here, McDaniel Consulting, Global Business Solutions for Entrepreneurs. Today, I'm answering the question that you really want to know. Can you have a business and a personal life? Stay tuned. We're going to flush this entire topic out because it is interesting. Greetings, global entrepreneurs. There are 400 million of us, and I continue to repeat it because as entrepreneurs, we have the misnomer that we are alone. We absolutely are not alone. There was a beautiful lady, she worked with me, one of the consultants. And she said, "Oh, I want to be a model." So I said, okay. She was 5'11". She had cocoa complexion, great bones, great hair, but she was not very photogenic. So she had to find the right photographer in order to take her picture properly so that she really demonstrated who she was. So she said, "Well, I tried." I said, "Okay, did you contact every modeling agency?" "Well, I contacted all of them in the area." "How many are in this area?" "Well, there are about 30 of them." "How many did you contact?" "6." "Did you contact all of the modeling agencies in the entire state?" "No." "Do you know how many modeling agencies there are in the state?" "No." "Do you know how many modeling agencies are in the surrounding states? Because your look may benefit photographers in other areas." "Did you look throughout the world?" So, did you spend 4 hours a day researching, contacting photographers, agencies? No. So I said, "You didn't want to be a model." Stop telling people that. Stop telling people that you wanted to be a model, but you didn't contact all of the agencies in the local area, nor the state, nor the surrounding states, nor the nation, nor agencies in other parts of the world who would more appreciate your particular look. Same with us as entrepreneurs. There are 400 million of us. So don't say, "I'm by myself." Find a community. Okay? We are in the age of the internet. You can Google and find new friends. Do you have to talk to them? No. Did I know Bob Proctor personally? No, but he was my best friend. Okay. Today's topic is, can you have a business and a personal life? Can you be a successful entrepreneur and have a personal relationship? So I'm going to start at the beginning. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's John 1. SYREETA, what does that have to do with having a personal relationship? Well, you can add that one up, but when it comes to the personal relationship that you have to have most is with yourself. Do you know yourself? If you do not know yourself, how would you have any relationship? How can you have a relationship with your clients? How can you have a relationship with your vendors? How can you have a relationship with your suppliers? How can you have a relationship with friends? How can you have a relationship with your extended family members? You need to know yourself. Google it. This is YouTube. On YouTube University, you can find any video that deals with mindset, because you have to update your mindset before you get concerned with, can you have a personal relationship outside of your business? Ladies in particular, well, I don't want to be too successful because he won't talk to me. He won't talk to you anyway. Listen, if he loves you, he'll communicate with you. If he loves you, he'll update. He could love you, and it still won't make a difference because love is not the only reason to have a relationship. It's not. It's beautiful because love covers a multitude of sins. And because when people you love, they have a flaw, your eyes soften toward them and you say, oh. But it can also make you broke, baby, because you're so busy saying, oh, that you're not focusing on your clients. So, SYREETA, how can you have a personal relationship and a business? Let's start at the beginning, like I said a moment ago. Welcome, global entrepreneurs. There are 400 million of us. I'm SYREETA McDaniel. I've been in business since 2001 as an international strategic business consultant. And you know what each of my clients want to know? How do I really get business funding? We're going to discuss that. We're talking to your nano business, micro business, small business, franchise, and even which business funding options are better for you by industry. Pre-sales have begun. Be sure to sign up because the rate will adjust after pre-sales. We look forward to having you. Global entrepreneurs, 400 million of us strong throughout the world. SYREETA McDaniel here, continuing with, can you have a business, a small business, a sole proprietorship, and limited liability corporation, any form of corporation, and a personal relationship? Well, the last segment I mentioned, you need to know yourself. And it is the first step. That's the person you need to know the most. And that is the person that you need to have a relationship with. Well, SYREETA, you gave a scripture. Well, how do you know yourself without scripture? Have you ever heard that the enemy is in your own household? So let me share a scenario. I visited the beautiful family. I did not take my laptop, which was extremely rare. I'm talking 0.1% of the time that I don't take my laptop. And I had every intention of just serving the family, being with the family, sharing joy. And I got 3 clients and they paid, which is great. Clients paid, clients always pay. But I said, well, I only have my iPad and I can send you the invoice, but I need a little time to send you the agreement because, I was going to have the agreement to them within 90 minutes. Okay, so know the truth. They said, oh, don't worry about it. Just do it when you get back. I'm not going to be back for 14 days. Okay. So I came home and then I noticed a difference. So I spoke to aunt number 1. I have over 20 aunts and uncles. Over 20. I don't want to miss anybody. So aunt number 1 on one side of the family. Okay. And I said, Auntie, I was, in Philadelphia and I got 3 clients and these clients were calling me from across the United States. New projects, someone referred them, here's the payment, send me the invoice later, send me the agreement later and work on the project later. We know you're good. I said, but when I came home, it felt like there was a ceiling. So she said, the enemy is in your own household. Now, I'm familiar with the scripture in the book of Micah, in the book of Nahum, Nahum, and in the book of Matthew. It says, don't touch your mothers, don't trust your brothers. The daughter-in-laws will be against their mother-in-laws. The enemy is in your own household. Google it for yourself. Read any translation. New Living Translation, the Passion Translation, any translation. Okay, Amplified Classic. Any translation that it resonates with you. And I was thinking, that was such beautiful advice. And when I get good advice, I take action. The best action to do is to smile and watch. But sometimes, when you have a question and you're like, is this my imagination? Or there's something afoul here. Now, in your household, there may not be anything afoul, so don't go looking for it. Okay? Know who you're dealing with. Know who you're dealing with. But the question is, SYREETA, can I have a business and a personal relationship? And I said that the answer, we're going to flush it out. The first step is know yourself. Do you know yourself? Second step, I said, can you know yourself without scripture? If you can, just know yourself, okay? Know yourself. And the third thing I said, make an observation that sometimes the people closest to us, the friend that we talk to 15 times a week, the colleague, the co-worker that we used to have, or we still have because we're doing our business 4 hours a week versus 60 hours a week. Who are the voices that we hear on a regular basis, and make an assessment? And I'm going to tell you where I got that information on how to make an assessment on what are the voices that we're hearing. Who are the voices? Who are these people? And how do they prevent me or help me to have good personal relationships and a business? Global entrepreneurs, 400 million. SYREETA McDaniel here. McDaniel Consulting, Global Business Solutions for Entrepreneurs. So we're at segment 3. And I said, I'm going to share with you how I got that nugget of who are the voices. So, okay. You guys know I finished graduate school. And when I finished graduate school, remember the example I gave earlier about the woman who said she wanted to be a model, but she didn't aggressively pursue it? Well, when I finished graduate school, so now I had been to Paris, France. I've been to Philadelphia back at the Temple University campus. I've been to the Donetsk, Ukraine. Wound up having a fiance there, God bless his heart. And God bless every Nigerian because they're everywhere. And then I came home. I finished my last semester. I graduated, and now I graduated in December, which is great. And now I was looking for a position in international business. Now, while in Paris, France, they said, look, this is not going to be a cakewalk. You are not going to be walking the Champs-Élysées and having fun. You have to pick an industry that you want to be in, and we're going to do the topics on that. So of those 5 courses, which included law, human resources, finance, and 2 other classes, marketing, and another class, strategy. Oh goodness. It was difficult. And then they went on strike in Paris. So I have a story that we walked 10 miles to school because they said, you Americans are crazy. We're paying for this. Okay. So now I'm home after that global event adventure. Okay. So a beautiful woman gave a tip in grad school. She said, I start off, I issue 100 resumes, and then I do 25 a day. So I'm using that as the example with the beautiful model. Are you sending your portfolio to 25 different photographers and agencies a day? for at least 90 days? No, which means she didn't really want it. So I did that for 6 months. Yes, I did. And in between, I had a temp job at Wharton. Wasn't that great? Sure did. With the global department, the chair, the healthcare business, listen here. I got it done. And in July, I started at Ernst & Young. Okay, so what does that have to do with personal relationships? Because during that time, I have another aunt. As I told you in the previous segment, I have over 20 aunts and uncles. So this particular aunt, she was a little more white collar, and she was in sales. So when you're in sales, sales is always talking about the mindset, motivation. So we went to the Black Enterprise Conference that was in Orlando, Florida, and Les Brown, L-E-S, was the guest speaker. Well, honey, he had written a book, and he wrote a couple of books. One book that he wrote is called It's Not Over Until You Win. And one chapter in that book dealt with, and I could be slightly wrong on the book. It was one of the books, okay? But it was in the beginning. This was a different era of life. Google it. It's on Amazon. I'm sure I'll have a link below. And Les Brown said in there, do you put your family first? He said, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I thought, my goodness, my young mind at that time was family first. Yes, family has a place in your heart. And my aunt actually visited me when I was in Paris, France, and she was annoyed that I was studying. Ma'am, do you realize that these classes are hard? Do you realize that we're not on European vacation? She was on European vacation. And remember, I mentioned that they had gone on strike. And because they had gone on strike, she had to leave. Because if you know anything about a strike that happens in Paris, France, they shut down the public transportation, they shut down the postal service, and they may shut down the airports. So she had to leave. I had to stay because we had to finish out the semester, which was already difficult. So that's an example. When you have a goal, a mission, you have to make updates. Yes, you can have a family. Yes, you can have a business. But you have to put things in the proper order. And that's why I said in the beginning, do you know yourself? Do you spend quiet time with yourself? Do you journal? Do you make voice memos? Do you write to yourself? So yes, you can have a personal relationship and a business. But do you know yourself? Do you know how to know yourself? Do you know how to update your mindset? Do you know how to be loving even as you're updating your mindset? Because I made mention that something was a foul. But guess what solution I had? I put my earbuds in and I would listen to Bob Proctor. And he had a video series, 10 hours, called You Were Born Rich. And it was talking about how to change your subconscious mind. Because there are people who know the scripture that says that you have a new mind. But sometimes we don't know how to change our mind. And the subconscious is formed between ages 0 and 7. So when you are communicating with, who are these people that you talk to on a regular basis? Friends, family, co-workers, cohorts. Who is it? And what are they saying? And then look at each person and see, what is their mindset? What do they think about money? What do they think about entrepreneurism? What do they think about being responsible? When you look at how their thoughts were formed, how their decision-making abilities were formed. They were formed between ages 0 and 7. So between ages 0 and 7, I was told, you can be whoever you want to be. And I was like, yeah, I'll be the president. So I have a beautiful friend, Ayada. I have known her since 10 years old. We went to the Catholic school. We went to the old girls' school. We're still friends today. She lives in one state. I live in another. That is my sister. And she told me within the past few months, she said, Ree, it would bother me when you would stand up and say, yeah, I'm going to be the president. And the politicians, you know, at that day, child, they had politicians come to your school to say hello. It was their civic duty. And teachers, and she said they would look at me odd. But you know, I'm a very determined person. I'm not even that much taller because I'm 5 feet. But the point is, she said, but you are the president. So what does that have to do with, can you have personal relationships in a business? Yes, you can. But you have to figure out how to update your thoughts and your approach and how to be kind and gracious even as you are changing. No one wants to be around a bulldoze. You just charging through. No, forget that stuff. That's no. You're not going to win like that. You're not even going to have clients like that. Because they say, ooh, she's good at what she does, but she's a bulldoze. Nobody wants to work that. No. It's not polite. And remember, when you're in government contracts, they remember you. There will be the same person for 30 years. So you want to be kind. You want to be polite. If you are kind and polite in your business, you can be kind and polite in your personal life, even when things are afoul. Remember, I said love doesn't keep a relationship. When something's afoul, be loving enough to be gracious. And you can make the adjustment that you need. You make your own adjustment. Because it could have been hard for you to get into that personal relationship. It could be hard to leave. It could be hard to stay. Make your adjustments. Okay? But the question is, can you have a personal relationship and a business? The answer is yes. But premium above everything is know yourself. Learn how to know yourself. Learn how to identify things to update within yourself for the greater good. Not update for anything other than the greater good. And the greater good is, how can you update and still be kind, gracious, and loving? SYREETA McDaniel here. Excited to share this nugget because people want to know. And it is possible. Greetings, entrepreneurs. 400 million of us all over the world. You are not alone as a small business owner. The question is, can you have a personal relationship and a small business? Well, it starts with an old blues song. Fortunately, there are some musics that are known throughout the world. And it says, I can be a lady in the streets. Google the rest. The key to having a business and personal relationships is to be kind. First person you need to be kind to yourself. The second person you need to be kind to is be kind to yourself. The third person that you need to be kind to is be kind to yourself. How are you kind to yourself? You document, journal, and ask yourself questions. Listen, I don't know, but you need to at least Google some videos. How to be kind to yourself. That's the first step in having personal relationships and your business. Because if you're kind to yourself, you're going to get the proper rest. You're going to get the proper nourishment. You're going to have the proper relationships, friendship, families, and otherwise. You're going to know how to place each relationship in the way that it should go. And you can do it. But it takes priority. You have to prioritize. And that's why I gave the example of Les Brown's "It's not over until you win." SYREETA McDaniel here. Global Business Solutions for Entrepreneurs. Welcome, global entrepreneurs. There are 400 million of us throughout the world. There are 40 million in the United States of America. Some more, some less. That's where we are. Okay? All right. SYREETA, you're not giving me the answer. Can you have a personal relationship and a business? All right. So let me tell you what I did when I first started the company. I said, Lord, I want a family. I said, I want a husband. I want a family, but I need to know how to have a business and maintain a house. So I would get up before sunrise. So we're talking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. at least 3 days a week. I got to the office by 7 a.m. So if I'm getting to the office in the seat, typing 7 a.m., whether I had a client or not, 7 a.m., I was at the office. And so that means I had to reverse it back, because you're going to give yourself an hour of commute. You're going to give yourself an hour of getting ready, packing your lunch. SYREETA, why pack your lunch? How are you going to ensure that you have the right nutrition? Pack your lunch with whole, fresh foods, meals prepared with fresh ingredients, as fresh as possible. Google it, watch YouTube videos. But I still had to get my quiet time in. So that's why between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. I was up. I shared quiet time with myself. I did my meal prep. I would clean the kitchen before I left. So meal prep would involve my breakfast and lunch, and I would leave the office by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But in that morning, I could kind of prep what I was going to have for meals. Because if you're waking up between 3 and 5 a.m., you are going to be asleep between 8 p.m. and 10. Do you realize that the deepest sleep is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.? The most serotonin is released. So if you get up, you work on a project from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., you'll get more in those 4 hours than you will at other times of the day. Hey, just nuggets. But how can you have a personal relationship? Well, first I had to be disciplined within my own self. That was my own discipline, my own routine. And so people at the office, they would say, SYREETA, how are you going to get a husband? You're always at work. I wasn't always at work, but that was their perception, because I would get there before they arrived. It made people better, because at the office, I started off in a business incubator center. At the office, they would try to beat me. No, I'm going to be here. And if they got there before 7, that's great. We're entrepreneurs. So that was my little itty bitty community at that time. Okay? So can you have a personal relationship and a business? The answer is yes. Start by being disciplined. It's not to be selfish. Be disciplined. Are you disciplined enough to have your quiet time? Are you disciplined enough to prepare your meals on a regular basis? Are you disciplined enough to clean the kitchen before you leave? Are you disciplined enough to get to the office at the earliest possible hour? Are you disciplined enough to actually work when you're at the office? Billable and non-billable is in another video. Are you disciplined enough to leave, go home, prepare again, do the dishes again, and get to sleep at a decent time? Can you do all of that when you have other personal relationships? Make the adjustments as you need to. But at least a few times a week, when you do this type of schedule, it helps you to be centered. And when you're centered, then you're attractive. If you are not centered, you are not attractive. SYREETA McDaniel here. McDaniel Consulting, global business solutions for entrepreneurs. I'm SYREETA McDaniel. I've been in business since 2001 as an international strategic business consultant. And you know what each of my clients want to know? How do I really get business funding? We're going to discuss that. We're talking to your nano business, micro business, small business, franchise, and even which business funding options are better for you by industry. Pre-sales have begun. Be sure to sign up because the rate will adjust after pre-sales. We look forward to having you.